what's so special about Hercules?
Well, he's an archetype, and he's been within the collective conscious, at least in the Western world, for like a long time. In film, however, that's where people these days get their idea about Hercules. For me personally, it's Disney's Hercules. So with you, maybe it's the same way. Like, was your introduction to Hercules was Disney, which I guess would be true for most
pretty
people.
Much. Also, what I admire about Disney's Hercules is their style of the characters similar to like Greek. I hate to be wrong about if it's Roman or Greek.
Yeah, it's Greek. Like the way they do their noses and then like special effects. It's a very late 90s approach. If you notice, like in Mulan, it's very Chinese, or at least a caricature, right? So for Hercules, it's the same way. So that's what made it appealing.
In that sense, Hercules became like a caricature of like strength.
The hero, the definition of hero, Hercules as an icon, as an archetype, became a common symbol of raw heroism.
With your work, or what your depiction of Hercules, how did you feel about interpreting what it means to look like a hero?
Well, a short answer is I don't like it anymore, but at the time, I was trying to go for something more contemporary, because at least in the pop culture world, a lot of archetypes are broken down and don't really fit the trend. Right? Because like in the mainstream, Hercules is always like often, Caucasian, but like very buff, very obvious. But with me, my idea of Hercules was more like something contemporary, something that's like off the Greek culture. And now looking back, it seems a little tacky, but I was really trying to go for like, okay, well, he's wearing pants. He does have the lion's skin, and that's something that's actually common, or at least used to be common and very symbolic of Hercules. So that's the only thing, and I can admit that's like, okay, that's like something that Hercules would wear. But everything else, just trying to be different.
Did you try to depict Hercules in a specific one of the 12 labors or whatever, based on a specific labor that he did?
It was not based on anything specific. I was just trying to go for a dynamic pose. I was trying to depict how he would sometimes have a club, and I would just focus on a lot of aesthetic options, and that pretty much drove my direction of my version of Hercules. And now looking back, I could say, it's not very functional. Like, what is him wearing like one suit of strange armor on one arm gonna do? His clothing isn't very protective at all. I think the issue is that he's relying too much on a lot of like clothing when he's a god anyway, like a demigod. So why would he need armor? Or even boots. That was my approach. But if I were to do it again, I wouldn't put that much clothing. I would try to focus like, okay, he's a demigod. He needs to look pretty confident. I guess it's a very awkward position. Like, why is he kneeling? He's trying to avoid. He doesn't even need to kneel. I don't know why I even made him kneel. But I was trying to go for something different.
I kind of like his expression though. Like, it's pretty on point.
I think the face is the only thing I'm proud of.
So if you were to change this a second time around, what would you do?
I wouldn't make him kneel. Actually, you know what? I don't mind the kneeling pose. Maybe I can make him sit differently, like he's about to run, but like half naked, not give him a shirt. I would keep the lion's skin. I would keep the club, but I would take away the spikes. Coming to think of it, it seemed the spikes are kind of random, but again, I was trying to go for aesthetics and try to just fill up more detail, add a little more effort on the armor, because like one of the theories we sometimes talk about is if you're trying to make something weird or something different, you got to go all the way. You can't just, it's kind of hinting at something, but it's like half the effort, like kind of knots. Yeah, the armor just looks really weird, like what the hell is he even wearing? So I would have added more detail, and even draw from Greek culture too, because it's Greek. That's the culture. That's where he's from. So
what's really interesting to me is Hercules is usually depicted with not so much clothing and not so much anything really. He's basically defined by his body muscles. So I'm curious, is there a reason why you wanted to be more conservative?
Like I said, I was just trying to be different. I wasn't thinking like practically considering the cultural context, given the context of where he's from. Again, why does he even need a shirt? The lion's skin is understandable because, you know, it's like it's part of nature. It shows their dominance over nature. Hence the lion's skin. Like, yeah, you know, I'm more than animal. I'm a demigod. Look at me. But with the shirt, you could lose the shirt. But aesthetics, haha, if you know what I mean. Aesthetic wise, I would keep the pants because I have this weird affinity. Because even with me, like I love wearing pants, you know, all year round. So I like having pants, that's just my personal quirk. But everything else, I would at least, if I was going to give any article of clothing, it should at least hint at the Greekness of the character, because that is a Greek legend. So with the armor, I would add a bit of like, just looking at references of like gold coins, the jars and vases that the Greeks are known for, Greek armor, obviously. So those are the changes I would do. So that is my self-critique, savage critique on my own Hercules. Let me know what you think, even though I know you're thinking like, oh yeah, it is really tacky. What is he doing with the spikes? And that doesn't look Greek at all. So I would welcome those comments. It's quite obvious, but comment away and let me know what you think. And hope you'll stick around for Michelle's version.